We seg now from brunch to belly laughs. Our next guest describes his show as 1 part lasagna, 1 part crepe block, and 2 parts Prozac.
And look, I brought a little nosh. Yeah, comedian Peter Fogel's here to tell us all.
Grandpa wasn't the, how do I say this, wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed.
My mother's Italian, my father's Jewish, and I'm in therapy. It's now on stage in Fort Worth. Only 4 shows left.
4 more shows at the theater in Fort Worth.
Yeah, we'll talk about that coming up. Where to find you?
W.E. Scott Theater in Fort Worth, Community Center for the Arts.
There you go.
Fort Worth.
Now, you don't have to be Italian or Jewish or on Prozac, for that matter, to enjoy your one-man show, right?
No, you really. The show was written by Steve Solomon. My mother's Italian, my father's Jewish. I'm in therapy. It tells it all. You just have to have a dysfunctional family that nuts.
Okay, well, everybody.
Well, a lot of us can relate to that, right? So who exactly is Steve Solomon?
Steve Solomon is the author, the playwright of this one-man show, and he wrote it about his upbringing up in Brooklyn, having an Italian mother, a Jewish father, and they drove him crazy because he's divorced with kids, and his wife that drives him nuts, keeping kosher, just like his mother did, and you know, his grandmother would make with his mother, keeping kosher, and it drove him into therapy. And his parents are getting older; they're hard of hearing. I mean, one of his therapists was Dr. Habib Patel, and after 3 years of intensive therapy, he goes, Dr. Patel, what's your prognosis? You know, Steve, after careful consideration of your situation, I have determined that perhaps life is not for everyone.
That's true. You do like 25 characters.
Oh, yeah,
right?
it's 25 characters.
How do you do that?
How do I do that?
Yeah.
The check clears. That's how I do that. No, and people always say, how do you memorize all these lines? I go, the check clears.
Yeah.
We have characters. You don't have to be Jewish or Italian, like I said, to enjoy it. It's written in a very broad way that you know these characters, because people come up to me, nothing like someone from Texas coming up to me goes, how do you know my family? And I said, wow, we struck a chord, and audiences are loving it.
Right.
But, I mean, we talk about Steve growing up in Brooklyn, where one of his buddies was Carmine. But Carmine talked like this. Not a lot of people know this, but Carmine invented the word use and the associated plural uses. Are yous going or just uses?
Hey, I think we saw a little teaser when we started. A little video of you on stage. Let's take a look.
Grandpa wasn't the, how do I say this, wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed. Once he comes back from a doctor's appointment, he don't look good. What did he say? He don't look good. What did he say? He said, I got to take a pill every day for the rest of my life. So lots of people take a pill every day. Yeah. Only gave me 4 pills.
See, now I'm starting to get it. Watch this.
Okay.
You know, the reason he does 25 different characters, and it's a one-man show, he's talking about the check, he gets all the money. I had some friends who had a band, and they only had 3 members, and I said, why only 3? And he said, well, we only have to split it 3 ways then, instead of 4 or 5 or 6. If they had a big
It makes sense.
Well, yes, I guess that would be the way, but we don't look at it that way. I don't get paid per character.
Too bad.
It's a 2-hour show.
Too bad.
It's a 2-hour show with a 15-minute intermission.
How do you come up with all those characters? Is this something you sit in front of the mirror and you practice, or you meet someone and you're like, I need to learn how to talk like you?
Well, I'm from New York like Steve is, and I grew up in an Italian-Jewish area, too, so the voices were, besides the voices in my own
head,
I had these voices, and I do dialects. I did voiceovers for many years. I mean, but it's what happens is you get the physical characters change. So to give you an example, Steve growing up he had a stifled childhood. His parents didn't tell him about the birds and the bees. In fact, every time he asked his mother or father, it was a cryptic riddle. He'd say and I become the child, the 12-year-old, go, Ma, how come people kiss? Because they're shopping upstairs to buy something downstairs. He'd go to his father, Papa, why do people get married? Son, marriage is like a bank account. You put it in, you take it out, you lose interest. So but the Italian mother is a short little stocky
I can
woman,
imagine.
and the father is bent over. So it's the physicality too.
Now, before we go, you do famous people too, and you were doing Regis.
Oh, he's been in your audience. You've had some famous people in your
Regis saw the show originally when it was on Broadway, and he loved it. He loved it. I can't get enough of it. My feet don't reach the ground. I don't know how I saw the show.
I don't know how I saw it. All right, Steve, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Good. Steve Solomon's My Mother's Italian. Father's Jewish, and I'm in therapy, starring Peter Fogel, is now on stage at the Fort Worth Community Arts Center through November 9th.
You got to act quickly, and for tickets and showtimes, log on to smarttix.com. Did you want to say something really quickly?
Sunday is our last show.
Okay.
Then I make bail and I go back to the United States.
Yes, sure. If they let you go.
They let me go.
Exactly.